How'd you?
I wanted to thank you for taking time to speak with me today.
Cheers. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, it's
My
very good to
pleasure.
be here.
Congratulations on your album. You have to be very pleased with the response you've gotten.
Yeah, it's going good so far. It's
Yes.
been about a week. And yeah, no, it's been really good. It's a long time in the making.
Yeah, the only negative things I've heard is, well, this riff sounds like Megadeth or this sounds like Metallica. Well, that's great company to be in, right?
Yeah, well, I mean, you can't help what other people are going to think about it. All you can
Sure.
do is put something out in the world and it's something we would like to listen to. And we took a long time making it, so it's really really great for it to finally be out there.
And what I love about the album, it has that old school thrash sound, and it just drives hard throughout.
Oh, thanks. Appreciate it.
Thanks. I mean, we all grew up on old school crossover thrash and, basically all kinds of metal or hardcore punk. And I feel like all of our influences kind of came together
Mhm.
this album.
And Nate, the guitarist, lived in the Bay Area in the mid late 80s. He was
Oh,
like
wow.
19, 20. So he was part of that whole scene at the start. And yeah, he's a lifer. We all are. Like, so he's still very much in love with it. And but yeah, so he keeps and he's on top of things in terms of new bands, but he yeah, he knows his roots. He was there the whole time.
And we
Sure.
pretty
And
much started working on it right after the first record came out, which the first one is a 12-inch EP.
mhm.
So it wasn't really a full length. But we wanted to follow it up pretty quickly. Um, so we started working on the songs pretty much right after that came out at 2021. And yeah, we recorded over the spring. It took quite a while to get pressed, but the vinyl came out really nice. So that that's
Yeah,
all that matters, really.
And Nocturnal Hurricane is a kick-ass track. It's my favorite track on the album. I wanted to ask if you could speak on it.
Yeah. Sure. I mean, a lot of the songs I try to keep open to interpretation, but
Mhm.
Nocturnal Hurricane, a lot of it is about death. I work in the funeral industry, so all
Oh, wow.
that comes through in my lyrics. And yeah, I feel like it's kind of about just being aware of your mortality, um, and kind of taking back the taking back the night. That's a recurring theme really within the album. Um, is being one with night, being one with darkness, and the listener can kind of do what they can with that. But yeah, Nocturnal Hurricane, I feel like is kind of a stark push into just the reminder of our mortality. And I wanted to kind of start the album off that way.
And as with that theme, Eternal Poison is also in that same vein.
Yeah, correct. Eternal Poison's also about, you know, just ruining, not also about not really understanding your mortality and just poisoning all of your time that you have on this
Mhm.
earth.
mm,
Um, it's also about poisoning your body and poisoning the environment around you, which I feel like a lot of humans do.
Sure.
Um, which is unfortunately how our society has raised us to be. A lot of people are conditioned to think that it's okay to poison themselves and to poison the world around them, which is unfortunate. Um,
mm. I think a lot of those themes, like even environmental themes, like came through in like early nuclear assault records and like
Mhm.
the crossover from when we were teenagers as punks and like reading death metal and thrash metal like thanks lists and discovering independent bands that way, like what bands did Sepultura tour with or something like that.
Sure.
And there was always this crossover of like intelligent, principled themes and like it could be juvenile, but either way, like this sense that uh we as young people, as people who seek out, we feel things intensely and we have convictions when we're younger, and like the whole idea of having that come out in the music in one way, shape, or form, right? And we all
Sure,
love metal that's like fantasy oriented too. But
sure.
just talking about that crossover from punk and hardcore and metal and thrash and death metal, speed metal, like that kind of principled approach, thoughtful approach, like, could be philosophical, like death lyrics or political, but yeah, just love that idea of, like, you know, being authentic in that way.
And in speaking of you incorporating old school style of thrash, we're getting ready to lose one of the best bands in thrash that ever existed, Megadeth. I wanted to ask if you could speak if they influenced you in any way.
Oh, sure. I've been listening to Megadeth since I was a teenager.
Yeah.
Um, so I would say, Megadeth has always kind of been there. I love Dave Mustaine's vocals and lyrics. I feel like there's kind of, especially early on, there was like this cool, uh, paint this cool picture of like an Armageddon, an approaching
Mhm.
Armageddon. And I always kind of liked lyrics that did that.
Mm,
So yeah, I feel like Megadeth's always been quite a pretty good influence.
mm,
Um, Early Slayer as well, but
yeah.
not to change the subject.
Yeah.
Sure.
But,
Yeah. I just listened to Pete Sells yesterday, and was I mostly play drums, but I'm teaching myself bass, and I was trying to learn the piece, that infamous bass intro that MTV used, and like. But anyway, yeah, yeah, I saw Megadeth, and there was a tour with in the early '90s. It might have been 90, 91, with it was Megadeth, Testament, Judas Priest.
Wow.
So I saw them at a Brendan Byrne Arena. It was down in the Meadowlands in North Jersey, where I'm from. Uh, yeah, that was pretty incredible. Yeah, um, I love all their drummers for sure. One of my favorite Megadeth moments was when they were on Arsenio. Have you ever seen that?
Yes.
You could find it on YouTube. It's pretty lo-fi, but they do like Hangar 18, and it's
Mhm.
just so unreal and tight. And it was just a killer crossover culturally, like to have them on. And yeah, Mustaine always, I think he's got his quirks for sure, but I think even when he was young, like he was intense, and
Sure.
uh, you know, they
yeah,
struggled in a lot of ways, but
he was a
uh,
visionary though.
he had like a chip on his shoulder, but he utilized that to,
Right. Absolutely.
yeah.
And getting back to the album, I wanted to ask about the album artwork and who was the artist that was involved?
That was Aldo Muniana from Indonesia. Um, his Instagram is like, I could put it in the comments, but it's like Dirty Dust Void, I believe. Um, and so yeah, we had, if you ever heard this Japanese artist Sugi, who does a lot of hardcore and uh like punk and metal stuff too, but he's been around for 20, 30 years, like doing covers. He originally did one, and I don't know, we just wanted to look around and see before we decided on that. So this guy we got in touch with through Instagram. He was just one of the great like metal artist who his look was very 80s horror, like really stark.
Sure.
And it looks like there's a story there. Like you want to kind of enter that world, and doesn't quite make sense, but it's like, yeah,
Well,
otherworldly. It
one
looks,
of the recurring themes throughout the album, and especially about the title track "Unscripted and Chaos," is
Mhm.
about being an adversary and about being comfortable with that idea. Uh, and I think something about that artwork with the sword cutting off the head
Sure.
really encompassed that adversarial energy that I wanted to have in the album art. So it sort of worked really well. And also, it strangely looks like they're on Mars for some reason with the orange sky.
Sure.
And so, um, But yeah, we also have an alternate cover art with
So this is the LP artwork, and
Yes.
then the original one we ended up using is from that guy Sugi, who's also painted sort of like a Oni like demon
Mm.
battle, which is very much like an enthusiastic, like into the fray, charging into battle, not being afraid to fight, not being afraid to be an adversary. And this is just such a killer scene. It's like so
Absolutely.
kind of manga looking. And yeah, so this you can use this as an alternate cover. It's also the lyric sheet. It's the vinyl.
Wow.
So yeah. We got a couple different covers. Not to mention that I don't know if you've seen this. It's on the Instagram, but Meryl von Halstern, he's done stuff for Mastodon, Metallica, Sabbath. Like she's a big artist that I met at an art show with a buddy of mine sings for Baroness, and
Okay.
he and this guy Meryl collaborated on an album of Baroness's, and so I met Meryl at there. He's from the Netherlands, and we met, we hung out that day. We kind of became buddies, but I wouldn't say we're that tight. We've known each other that long. But I reached out to him on Instagram and I was like, if you have anything, we don't have time to have you, draw something up, but and he's pretty into man. He's a big artist. And he ended up just completely hooking us up. He's like, I always wanted to do, it's been a while since I did something for like a DIY band, like an
Sure.
independent band. And he just did this incredible version of the first
Mhm.
LPs, the same artist from Japan, Sugi, who this bat logo that was our first, cover shirt and everything. He wanted to do his version of it. I don't have it with me, but so
yeah,
that
we've been really lucky to work with a lot of great
yeah, this
artists.
whole album had to involve like several really, really great artists. And
And
Aldo, who did the cover, did the center
the
side.
album's out. It's kick ass from top to bottom. I wanted to ask you, what's the next step for you?
No, really for now, like get out there and play a little bit. We've got about a show once a month, probably for the next 4 months, which is a good pace for us old guys.
Hmm.
We all work full-time jobs. The other two guys in the band have kids, so um our touring is a little limited. The idea of touring is a little limited because of that, but we're trying to do what we can. Maybe do some extended weekend uh,
Yeah.
shows.
Yeah,
But
we got good friends in New York and Connecticut and Richmond. So we like to try to circle that area when we can. So while I'm waiting for
eventually
it.
do another record, but that's probably a long time into the future at this point.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, just get out there, play. Really, we're just still really happy that this came out. That all so I don't know, man. I don't
Yeah.
know. We don't know what we're doing, really. We just go for it.
Yeah,
And,
that's yeah.
and in speaking of another album in the future, I wanted to ask you, were there any tracks that didn't make the cut for this album?
Oh, there's one Lurking Fang is an instrumental, and we only ended up using the first half of it. So that was just Pat and I, the bassist, wrote this whole track that was just bass and drums, and it goes to a number of different places. So maybe we'll finish that up. We were gonna do a cover for this one, but we just wanted to focus on the songs we had. But we were originally gonna do a Sacrilege cover, and then what was the other one we were gonna do? Nausea?
We talked about nausea, sacrilege.
Yeah. Like a lot of those 80s bands that we're
Mhm.
influenced by. Like, that, yeah.
Yeah, I think we were talking about doing a discharge cover at one point. We did do one live, but yeah, we'll see.
Yep.
We recorded with Eric Victor, who also put out the record, which is kind of an interesting situation. I've never recorded with the person who is also the guy running the label.
Sure.
Mhm.
Um, but he was great. Really did a great job producing the album, really getting the sound we were going for, and
Yeah,
um,
he definitely had the same. He's around our age. He's like Gen X and wanted to make it sound like an 80s thrash record where it wasn't too kind of clicky and too, like kind of modern day deicide, like death metal sounding, like overproduced. So to make the drums sound like real drums, but also to make it well produced and punchy and kind of bonded by blood, like, like really,
Sure.
you could tell, yeah, like not too slick, but I love how the drums came out. They're just so, they cut so
Absolutely.
well. Like that galloping bass drum really emphasizes the speed. So the production, yeah,
There's a
came out
lot
great.
of a lot of people have been telling us that the album reminds them of Exodus, which works for me. I'm
Heck yeah. Bonded by Blood's one of the best albums of all time.
yeah, you really can't fuck with it. I mean, it's
Mm.
uh it's a great just blueprint for a thrash record.
Yeah. So where in Ohio are you, by the way?
I'm in Massillon, Ohio. I'm about 45 minutes from the Hall of Fame.
Oh, all right, all right. Yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
right
yeah.
on.
So yeah, you got friends in there's a great Cleveland band called Newcomer, like Nukke,
Hmm.
Hammer. Buddy Dennis, who's been playing in bands for 30 years, like very much like Swedish D beat, like kind of metal, but lots of like Japanese hardcore and metal influences. If you ever check them out, I'll send you a link or something, but
Absolutely.
I'll do that.
The scene has been really
Yeah.
great here in Ohio. During
Mhm.
COVID, a lot of clubs had to close down, get
Yeah.
new owners and that because the money just wasn't coming in. But now it's really resurged and it's doing really well.
Oh,
Nice,
that's awesome.
nice.
That's good to hear. Yeah,
Yeah.
we actually should come go play in Ohio at some point.
Yeah. I did play Speak in Tongues in '99 once. You ever been there? Like,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. I don't know when it closed down, but I know it's been gone a while.
Yeah, it's been gone for quite a while. Um,
Yeah.
and
That
then
was
Buzz and then Buzzbin closed down Canton, but they are in Akron now.
okay, cool. Yeah.
So
Yeah,
um
yeah. It's a lot of great
I
spots in
I
Ohio.
wanted to ask you if you could take me back in time and tell me how this band became a reality.
Well, I was in a band for what I called Monster X in the late 90s with Nate, the guitarist. I met him in maybe 93, 94. He was in the state New York bands Devoid of Faith, and Monster X got started in the early 90s. And they were kind of like a grind band, but they played like hardcore shows. They played like DIY shows. Um, but yeah, Nate came from thrash metal and death metal and was there from the mid 80s. And but got into like the hardcore scene in the late 80s too. So those bands, so he asked me to be in Monster X in 99. And we played for a while. I was living up there in Albany, everyone's, back and forth. And then we've always been in touch. We've known each other since then. And he moved from upstate New York to North Jersey and, was going to shows in Philly where we're at. And like we're both from New Jersey, but we've been in Philadelphia a long time. So three-quarters of the band's from here. So,
Okay.
yeah, how did we originally? I think over COVID, especially Nate and us, like, not being able to play music and yeah, it was a tough time creatively. So
Yeah,
we thought we wanted to do something that both we hadn't played together since yeah, 99. And but we wanted to do something like exactly what we wanted that was going to be like candy, like just the
Right.
most fun, like the most life affirming. And like Ian was saying, like very much like about not trying to relive the past, but do what we love to do.
Sure.
And we'd been playing for a long time. We knew each other and our sensibilities and like our values and our convictions about the music. And so yeah, and then
huh.
Ian I've known since he was like I don't know, 15, 14, 15.
Yeah,
He
I
starts
got into playing in bands at a really young age, and actually the first band that I was in that started getting out and playing shows that made a record. The guitar player of Fright, put out a record for my first band.
well, that's
Okay.
right. That was
This is
cool.
back in 2001.
Uh-huh.
The band was called Down in Flames, and we were like hardcore punk, sort of like Minor Threat. We had a lot of different like Japanese hardcore influences, and we also played with Derek, one of Derek's bands around that same time. So I've known all these guys for,
Yeah.
going on a quarter century at this point. Our bands have always played shows together.
Mhm.
As I said, Nate put out a record for my old band. And then I always respected everybody in the band a lot. And they're always, slightly older than me, probably, not by much, 5 to 8 years. Um, and so Nate reached out to me right around COVID and asked me to join Fright. And at the time I was just moving to Philly, so it made sense. It was he kind of just regionally we were all coming together, more or less moving into the same place.
Mhm.
We've been friends for a long time. By the time that they asked me to join, they actually already had a few songs ready. So I I wrote lyrics and then through an app on my phone was able to record over one of their practice songs. So during the pandemic, actually, it
Yeah.
sent a couple tracks that way because we weren't really able to practice in
Sure.
person. Um, so I sort of kind of started off by just taking their takes, recording tracks over them, sending them back that way. And so by the time we actually got into the room together for the first time, it didn't really feel like our first practice because we had been
Right.
working on these songs already for months, kind of remotely. Um, and so the first record came together really quickly. I think we recorded it 4 or 5 months after our first practice, um, before we ever played a show. Because at the time,
That's true.
yeah, at the time there weren't shows. So we recorded it in the first record in February of 2021, and then it didn't come out until the end of the year because we're maniacs
Yeah.
that need to press everything on vinyl, and vinyl these days takes forever to get pressed.
Sure.
Uh,
Yeah.
so
That's right. We were wearing masks when we were
we were
recording.
married in Mass when we recorded the first album. And then yeah, and then as I said, we pretty much started working on this one right away. Um I worked at a record store for about a year called Creep Records, and Creep is also the label that put out the Fright records. So while I was working there, I basically convinced my boss to put out the record for us.
That's cool.
Uh, and then even though I moved on and started working in the funeral industry, we stayed in touch. We ended up recording with them, putting out the record with them. Um, so yeah, I feel like this album probably wouldn't have come together if we hadn't gotten the offer from Creep too. And, that was really motivated us to get it done. And obviously them putting it out was huge. So
And I think all the prior experience that you guys have had together really contribute to the tightness on this album.
Yeah. Yeah. It was really, really, it felt really good in the studio. And
and at the end of the day, we're all a bunch of like people that played in hardcore and punk bands now trying to play in a metal band, which might sound like funny to some people or different subgenres, but it's actually not. It really takes
Right.
a
Sure.
different skill set.
yeah.
Um, so we're, going from writing songs that are like 1 minute long to writing songs that are 5 minutes long.
But the
Uh,
message is still ultimately the same.
Yeah.
Very
You
much
know,
so.
because that's
Yeah.
the nit between thrash and punk is that the message is basically the same. It's just to different music.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Lots of
yeah.
crossover there.
Messaging is very much aligned with punk, especially crust punk.
Hmm.
Um,
Hmm.
yeah, and we try to keep a lot of things open to interpretation. I think I have a lot of social commentary without coming at it from like a specific
Yeah.
political party or something like
Yeah.
that.
It's never heavy-handed.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's just more like my own view of what I think is going on in the world, not really trying to convince you to vote any certain way or anything like
Right.
that.
And in getting back with the album, I wanted to ask you, what's the best way to get a physical copy of the album and any merchandise that you have?
We have on our Bandcamp, so it's just Fright Thrash. If you just go onto the Instagram, it's got the same, it's got the links there. So that's where you can get shirts and posters and stuff like that. The LP, I would get it from just Creep Records, but it's like shopcreep.com.
Okay.
I could give you the link and you can put it up there.
Or if anybody is in Philadelphia, there is a Creep Records store, so you can
Yeah,
just
yeah, yeah. And Westchester, PA too.
yeah, so you can go to the Creeps physical store as well.
Yes.
And then at any of our shows, we have pretty good stock of merch right now. We have some pretty cool long sleeves, lots of posters and stickers that we give out with any purchase too. So yeah, anybody that comes to our shows, we usually have tons of merch and cool stuff like that. But our Bandcamp, Creep Records, um, it's showing up in more and more distros. Um, but if you message us on Instagram or anything, we'll make sure uh, really anybody that's interested in one gets on. So oh, and we're gonna do a CD version as well. With
Oh,
Yeah, yeah, it's Lawless Jakarta, like Jakta. In
they're from Indonesia,
he's Indonesia too.
so they're putting it out over there. But we're gonna get a bunch of copies in
excellent.
That's going to be
as
like a
well.
Southeast Asia kind of release.
And lastly, I wanted to ask you if you could give a message to your fans, what message would you give them?
I was like echo what Ian said in terms of like our mortality because we're all getting older, and even to someone in their 20s, obviously this is so trite, this is so spent like saying this, but people around our age, it does, it's not, everything's finite. Like your body is eventually
Sure.
going to give in. As a drummer, like I've been playing for 30 something years, I have nerve and, tendon issues like crazy, and I'm trying to like play as long as I can. But you can't live in terms of like just chasing specific outcomes or like, well,
Mhm.
once this record comes out, then I'll be okay. Like the
Right.
experience itself, like playing live, connecting with people, recording, like finding people who share your, sensibilities and skill sets. And, most of us, like who knows what would have happened if we didn't discover this outlet, like this way of
Absolutely.
having a cathartic experience, like purging, exercising our demons. So you got to find those people, and um, you might not have them, you might not have grown up with them, but you have to find your people who can reflect, all the strengths you have. So building community and trying to be as present oriented as possible. Like try to, if you're at a show, try to put your phone down
Mhm.
and take this in because it will
Sure.
pass. Anything could happen to us. Any of us could get sick, anything like that. So I think it's
Yeah,
really, really important to live in the present.
getting
Um,
old's a privilege. It's
yeah,
no guarantee that that's even gonna happen. And then also, question things and take care of yourself. I feel like, what we put in our bodies, uh, it contributes to our mental health as well as our physical health.
Sure.
Uh, it's important to stay strong. Yeah, there's a lot of terrible things going on in the world. But as long as you can stay present and healthy and keep pushing forward, it's really great things can happen.
yeah, it's
Well, I
worth it.
wanted to take a moment to thank you personally for creating an album that I enjoyed top from bottom that brought me back to the 80s and the original feel of thrash when it hit me. That's why I couldn't wait to speak with you, my friends.
It's great speaking with you.
That's really thoughtful. Thank you. That's awesome.
And please keep me updated with any new news as it comes about.
Yeah,
Will
please stay
do.
in touch, and we will as well.
All right. Thank you, my friends, and you
All
enjoy the
right.
rest of your evening.
All right, you
Likewise.
too.
Take care, man.
Cheers.
Cheers.
See ya.